It's very complicated and it is full of emotions. Kimochis actually means feelings. I'm not going to go into that too much more. Yes, you are right. I did launch How Do We Help Parents at Home? Because every single one of us, we want our kids to be happy. We want our kids to be happy. That's an image of Kimochi. But our kids also, you know this, they feel sad right out of the gate, they cry, and none of us worry. We are so happy to hear that crying because it actually means they're alive. I feel very emotional about this. I had a stillborn son 20-something years ago. I would have loved to have heard him cry. But when our kids cry and throw themselves on the floor, when they get really, really mad, it is very tough on us because we have feelings too. So in this webinar, I'm thrilled Pooja found me and Catherine from Devi to give you a reframe about what's happening and what can you do to make it a little happier at your home and not have worry about your kiddo. Feelings, all feelings. I'm sitting in front of my Kimochis. Every single feeling is important. Just like every letter on the alphabet is important. Every number on the number line is important. But parents and teachers even don't really know this because when you have a mad or a disappointed or a sad or a frustrated, it doesn't feel good. And so we want to run away from it. Okay, but we're not running away from it. We're saying to our kids, oh, I forgot to tell you, all feelings are okay, but all behaviors are not. When I was a young mom, used to write sentences on my hand to remember because I would read something or I'd see, we didn't have webinars in my day, but I'd see some parent educator and I'm like, oh, that's good. I'm going to say that, but I could never remember in the moment what to say. Again, Devi, I'm so excited about what you're creating because it's like having parent ed in your pocket. Pretty darn cool. So the sentence I want you to remember is all feelings are okay, all behaviors are not. So your kids can feel really, really mad, but they can't be a little bit mean. I want to also tell you what's happening with those behaviors. Yeah, I hope you're telling your kids no to 50 cookies. And most of them are not going, yay, you're one of the good parents, because they're very frustrated. They want those cookies. They want to stay up late. They want to be in your lap when you're working shelter in place. But you need to say no. Many of your questions were around this. One way I got around it was I didn't use the word no. I'd said this. I'd write it on your hand. I can't say yes to that because it's your job. It sounds better than saying, nope, we have to go to bed. Nope, we have to get in the car. You say, I can't say yes to staying here, but I can say yes to this. So here's what I can't say yes to, and here's what I can say yes to. For little kids, I would say, here's a yes, yes. That's a no, no. I think a lot of you are going to really like that sentence. I also want you to know the feeling, cranky. I get cranky. I'm not a bad mom. I just get cranky. Okay, I own my cranky. Feelings are going to fuel your behavior. And you want, obviously, your kids to have all those charming behaviors like cooperation, manners, all of the behaviors that help your kids do well in life. So here is a reframe. Anybody joining this is probably not joining because things are smooth. Things are rarely smooth with raising kids unless you have a really easy kid. It's not a better kid. Some kids are easier. I have 3. I know this for a fact. My first kid, I read 1, 2, 3 Magic, the one where it's a great book. Basically, the cliff note is you say 1, 2, 3, and they end up in the room. She was such a rule follower, she never ended up in her room. Next to, I could have gotten to 100. So the reason why I want to tell you this is all kids are different. They learn differently. Some of our kids have autism, Asperger's, different speech and language difficulties, but they're wonderful children that can learn all of these things. So we're taking a calm down breath, parents. feelings fuel behavior. And when your kids do challenging behavior, you're not going to feel good, but I want you to remember this too will pass, and you have to give them a tool and practice, practice, practice new things. All right, let's get after it. So I know that anyone watching this has books in their houses. You are pointing out letters and numbers and cows. Those are for the little kids. Parents that have also older children or only older children, clearly you're not starting like this. But what you're doing is you're getting really on purpose with feelings. It's not like this. What are you feeling? It's more that you're talking about, you're pointing out, you're clearly interested in feelings. The research actually tells us, you may know this, that people that know what they're feeling and can stay connected when they talk to people about feelings, they do way better in life. People who actually care about what other people feel, like, oh, I see Pooja's face, something's going on. I actually ask. They have better relationships and they're happier. Some kids are born wired to read. They just read. Some kids are wired to know how to feel. They just start to feel and talk about it. But we explicitly teach the kids that aren't wired up that way. And over and over and over with practice, they get it. The toothbrush. I don't know how old your child is, but all of you gave your kids lots of time with practice. Circle, circle, don't forget the back ones. You didn't give up on them. So with challenging behaviors, I want your brain to be like, duh, of course my kid is doing things that are hard, like hitting their head, yelling, flopping on the ground, covering their ears, because they have very big feelings that are hard in their body to feel, and they need practice with tools. Okay, I'm going to give you some tools. Here's a tool for you. When my kids have these feelings in the hand, sad and scared, I don't go like this. Oh, yay, my beloved child is sad and scared. I feel pain because I care. That's why you're here. You feel pain. But I have learned, because this is my profession and I coach parents, to now tell myself, this causes me pain, but this is my exact moment to show and join. I love this picture. Be right with my daughters with their sadness. I don't say words like this. Oh, you don't have to feel sad, or don't feel sad. But sometimes by accident, those sentences come out of our mouth because they're habits. So probably a lot of parents, I want you to listen to yourself when you see sad or scared. And instead of saying, oh, you don't have to feel that, or oh, sweetie, because you love them, say, actually, tell me about your sad. Is there a story to that? Tell me the whole thing. Because our job, our number one job as parents, is to help kids know what they're feeling and be able to access things that are going to help make things better. Because in life, there's challenges. Right now, we're loaded with challenges. So it's a great time to reset. Whoops. Okay. I'm going to go back one. There's so many things as parents that, the job requires. You got to keep them safe. You got to, there's a million jobs. And you just can't do everything. You just can't. I can't. And I think I'm pretty normal. I'm self-reporting I'm normal, but I'm pretty normal. What you can do is say, what do I stand for? What is my legacy at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the day? When my kids are out of my nest, what are they going to say that I really taught them? And I get weepy about this because I decided it was kindness. When my kids would leave in the morning, I knew that kids were going to do things that would hurt their feelings. I knew there was going to be rough spots and also joys, but I would always say, be kind, change the world. And you know, when I was doing it, the kids would be like, be kind, change the world. I get it. But now they're in their 20s. And it's funny, one kid called me, go, Mom, do you know that this kindness is a real thing? You know, as if I made it up. No. What do you stand for? I also want you to know that really kind kids from really kind homes, like my home and your home, they're gonna do unkind things. They're gonna be on both sides of the fence. Your friends, your parent friends, their kids are gonna do unkind things to your kids. It's so uncomfortable. But I want you to remember this webinar and say, this does not make the person a bully or a bad person or unkind. It makes it a person, your daughter or son, someone that's finding their way when they're mad or frustrated or scared or bummed out that they're not getting 50 cookies, because you know how to set boundaries. Kindness. What is your legacy? Okay. Hang with me. There we go. So this shows you all feelings have names. This is the place to begin. Kimochis has toolkits for schools. So I'm not selling you anything. I'm plucking out all the language for you. If you go to Kimochis, there's a lot of resources. This is our newest one. I am so proud of us. Any family, any school that wants these free feeling cards, I'd grab them, I'd cut them out. If you can laminate them, great, because this helps kids get, it's a real thing you can hold, show, touch. We also have, for little kids or children with limited reading, be a feeling detective and feeling charts in over 30 languages. But what, or of course, you know, if you can buy the Kimochis, it's great. I mean, you could put the bowl out. But the point is to have a physical representation is awesome, because then you can talk about it more explicitly, especially for our boys. It's way easier to toss or touch or hold or hide your feelings. Okay, feelings have stories. Most people, this is a tool, most people, parents, I think moms a lot, the way we find out what our kids are feeling is we ask WH questions. How was your day? What was the best part? What was the worst part? Blah, 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 blah. I want you to goof around with, oh, tell me the story about that. Tell me one story from your day that was exciting. Kids love to talk in stories, and they'll tell you more. The next slide is going to be very specific tools for the kinds of behaviors that you wrote in that you have. None of the behaviors surprised me, honestly, because you have normal kids that when they have big feelings, they need more tools. Top tools, you're naming it, moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas. You're giving names with the flashcards or the Kimochis. You're telling your kids feelings. I forgot to tell you, our whole family, we're going to have all these feelings. All feelings are okay in our house. All behaviors are not. Feelings, they come in sizes. I want a gigantic happy. I want a gigantic grateful and definitely hopeful with COVID and all the other things that are going on. Well, how do I make it bigger? There are things you can do in your house. Hey, you guys, how can we get a bigger silly around here? More excitement. There's behaviors, because feelings fuel it. How do we shrink the anger, the frustration, the annoyance, the confusion? All those feelings come in normal relationships. But you say, whoa, we've got so much frustration in this house. How do we shrink it? We take a calm down breath to start. For little kids, we say, pick the flower, smell the flower, blow out the candle. I'm 59. I'm not too old to do that motor movement. There's something about doing something with your body that helps you calm down. With little kids, you can say, show me with your hands. Is your mad this big, or this big? Let's together calm it down. And you're telling your kids, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes with our cranky and our frustration and our mad, and we might yell, and you might cover your ears, and all these feelings are okay. We can do all of them. Our love is so big, but we don't let our bodies hit yell, throw on the floor. So you're naming it before they do it, so that when they do it, you can say, we take a redo. We get second chances. So if I'm really, really mad and I hit you because I'm so mad, my hand hits you with my mad. Well, I need a replacement tool. I need to not hit you. So you can say, oh, we're going to take a redo, pull your hand back. You're really, really mad. Tell me, I'm so mad. Teenagers, you're not going to do it like that. Teenagers, you're going to again say, hey, we're going to make mistakes with our feelings. We're going to take redos. If they're hitting or flipping you off or rolling their eyes or slamming their door, I've lived with people before. You're going to say, you need a redo, and you're not going to lecture. I'm going to go into more tools here. This is the toolbar. Okay, parents, you know what we say? Where are my keys? Has anybody seen my keys? I lost my keys. These are the keys to communication. And we all lose it. You know how you say, oh my God, I lost it with my kid. All you lost was a key, one of these tools. And so you didn't lose your love. You didn't lose your good dad, mom status. You're not in the bad pack. There's no such thing. You need to practice. And nobody taught probably anybody on this webinar about these keys. I have to move a little fast because of time, but I hope that you're getting explicit information that nothing is wrong with your kid. Kids have feelings. They can have all of them. You're going to let them have all of them. You're going to name it. You're going to calm it down. And everybody takes redos. If you yell, you redo. If you hit, you redo. If you, anything you do, you redo. Here's the keys. Key number one, it is call people's name before you talk, moms and dads. We're really bad at this. Dinner, dinner, dinner. Nobody comes to dinner. I've been in that movie. So you got to walk in the room. Hey, Pedro, wait till they look at you. Give the message. This is a top tool for boys, top tool with kids with special needs. Slow it down. Puja. Puja. Now they're ready for the inbound. Keep it short. Communication tab. This is awesome. A lot of kids don't hear you or they're not listening to you, especially because you're sheltered in place. You're yesterday's news, no offense. They adore you, but it's like they hear you blah, blah, blah all the time. Tuning out. Key one, we are tuning in. Communication tab. Wait till Pooja looks at me. Pooja, time to put your toys away. Pooja, homework time. It's not blah, 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 blah. And I was blah, blah, blah all the time. I had to really train myself. Okay, so the common language in key two, it's your voice. I wrote in big because I want to make sure I get to all the challenging behaviors. When kids are really, really mad out of cloud, this is our Kimochi cloud, really, really mad, I want you to say this sentence: we can be mad, you cannot be mean. This means you can't be mean with your voice. We have 3 voice common language you're bringing into the home. When I'm mad, I use a talking voice. Pooja, I asked you to knock. Pooja doesn't knock. So I don't use a fighting voice. Pooja, I asked you to knock. You're on this webinar because you're hearing fighting voices, right? People are yelling. It's normal to yell when you're overdone with feelings. So you're going to say, hey, in our family, we're going to get mad at each other. We're going to get really, really mad and frustrated. We're sheltered in place. We are not yelling. We are going to use a serious voice. Parents, serious voice is slower. When our body has big emotions that are, we call them hard to have or upsetting, we need them, but they're hard, they're ouchy. You speed up. That's why you yell. So now you're going to go, I'm going to use a serious voice. Paula, please put your toys away. Now, oops, 5 more minutes. I'm going to go faster. Okay, but you're going to get this because you're the advanced class. I'm making that up. Pooch is laughing. Okay, key 3. 60% of how you come across and how people come across is body language. You are talking to your people about body language. Our eyes, these are talking eyes. These are the ones you want. Really hard to do when I'm disappointed I can't have 50 cookies, because you know how to set a boundary. So I use my fighting eyes, and I use my fighting voice, and I use my hurtful words. I say, I hate you, right? No, they don't hate you. Their body, they've lost their keys because you haven't taught them yet. You're just halfway through a webinar. So you're going to say, whoa, 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 I forgot to teach you. Of course you're frustrated because I can't say yes to 20 cookies, or I can't say yes to taking your mask off, or whatever the boundary is for you. But we use our serious eyes. Open them just a little bit. Quickly do this for me. Go fighting eyes, go serious eyes. Fighting. It calms you down. So I want you to use your serious eyes. It'll help you not yell. Most parents talk to me about, I regret the yelling. Well, I regret it too. But honestly, a little bit of yelling probably is not horrible, because people are going to yell at your kid. You want them to have some muscles for people that yell, but that's not your primary mode. Talking hand. People take stuff like, they just either grab it because they're grabbing it. They have feelings that fueled grabbing. They're playing. So you use the talking hands with little kids. You go, please give it back. Anybody grabs from them, you teach them to go, please give it back. I ask nice. Do I have to get my parent? Teenagers, you're not going to go like that. If your kid's getting grabbed from a lot, you say, okay, sorry it's happening, but hey, use the talking hand. Just go like this and say, hey, please give it back. Because if you don't give them some tool, they might grab it back or not stand up for themselves. What is stand up for yourself? It's you use your keys to say and do what you need and want. Okay, key 4, you guys are good at this. Use your words. But some kids don't have the words. And when you have big feelings, the wrong words come out. You're a poo-poo head. I hate you. I used my words. So we're getting more explicit with this key. Words help, words hurt. In our house, you're saying to kids, just like you say, in our house, we shut doors quietly, and we look left and right when we cross the street. The rule is we don't use hurtful words, but they are going to say aggressive things to you. They are, because they have big feelings. They don't know about the keys yet. They don't know about feelings yet. This explicitly, so you've got to give them time, like you did with the toothbrush. You're going to say, ouch. If anyone in our house says words that hurt heart, you can be mad at me. You can be frustrated. I cannot allow anyone to say hurtful words to me, and I'm going to help you not let anybody say hurtful words to you. So I recommend saying, ouch. Sometimes with teenagers, I just use body language like, and I say to them explicitly before I do it, this does not mean I don't love you. People get so afraid when we correct them. So we're telling them ahead, hey, there's this key. And when we blow it, we say, ouch, but the best key. And I think if this went viral, Pooja, and it could, it's so easy to understand, but you got to practice. It's the redo. It's the edit key. If I interrupt you, I go, oh, sorry, I interrupted you. If I say something I regret, that was rude. I know I'm just agitated. Still agitated, redo the way I said it. So parents of teenagers, parents of any age, when you say to kids, oh, I don't like the way you talk to me, or I don't like your attitude, or that's not respectful, that is not helpful enough. You're going to the keys and you're saying, redo your voice. I get you're irritated. I want to hear all about it. Can't listen when you're yelling. Okay. And then don't just stand there. If you walk, don't consider it walking away from your kid, but you would say to anybody, if a car kept hitting you, you wouldn't stand in the street. You wouldn't. So you can say, when we forget, I have feelings too. And if you're going to be using a fighting voice and I ask you to redo and you can't redo, I need to remove myself because that hurts my heart. I love you. I'm not removing my, you say it one time and then you practice. This takes practice. I love the language of Kimochis. I love that I'm finally able to bring it to parents. And so what I'm going to say is reset. Everybody loses it. Don't get down on yourself. Get practical and just say, you know, kids don't turn out once and for all like muffins turn out. Kids are like us. They're humans and they're finding their way and they don't have all the speech and language. Kids with special needs, they're definitely going to need more repetition. The visuals are going to help them. You're going to be very explicit. And also schools are awesome because schools are starting to get, we teach kids to read and write. We need to teach them how to communicate feelings. So remember your keys, and when you lose it, you're going to redo and you're going to begin again. Okay, I'm very passionate about this, Pooja.
Awesome. Well, I learned a lot, honestly, from that. I thought the redo was a great takeaway. Also loved the, earlier you mentioned the naming the feeling and saying and catching yourself saying, oh, don't feel that way, or like, you don't need to feel that way. For me, I even catch myself doing that to, you know, like my younger sister, or like, you know, other people in my life, that just is like, well, why do you feel that way? You know, that's like such a natural reaction that you kind of catch yourself with.
Pooja, this might not be explicit enough. Everyone that joined, you joined because you want to help your kid. The first place to start is to practice these keys in your own life, because one, it really changes things. And two, you're going to be a better teacher if you're doing it yourself. And the best tool is to call out what you're not good at yet. Just say, whoa, I went to a class, show them that you're learning. And this lady was talking about feelings, and I realized that when I get frustrated, I can yell, hey kids, hey family, you help me, I'm going to be taking redos. That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. So I guess I know that you hit on quite a few of the questions sort of as we were going along, but I wanted to sort of pose them more explicitly and get those, you know, tidbits of advice, maybe just to reinforce them. So the first was, we saw quite a few questions around responding to aggression and hurtful words from children. So one parent asked about how to respond when a toddler spontaneously hits them. Another asked about a child hitting themselves and saying hurtful things when they get angry. So are there specific ways that you would recommend a parent, first of all, deals with it in the moment, so when that happens, and then how they continue to kind of respond in ways that prevent that over time?
Yes. It's the setup. You don't do it in the moment unless you've done this first. Be explicit. You are going to get really, really mad. You are going to get really, really frustrated. You're going to your charts and you're going to get muscles for you're mad and you're frustrated when you don't want to do things that daddy or mommy tells you. Okay. But we can't let our bodies, I like to use that sentence, we can't let our bodies hit, yell, you name the behaviors that are happening. It's not being critical of the child. It's just saying, I can't let you do that. So we're going to give you a tool. Okay. We're going to get this, buddy. You're going to get this. I had to get it when I was little. You've got this. Remember when you were, tell them stories about other behaviors they have that are gone now because they were so frustrated. They're growing their muscles. Okay. Then in the moment, you're using a common language. Simple. You're using the keys. You're saying, use your talking voice, redo, catch yourself. You're swapping out. So if they're hitting, which is very common, and it's so alarming when our children hit us. It's please know it is normal to feel like, what's wrong with my kid? I must be blah, blah, blah. No, you're stopping that talk in your head. That is not true. You're saying, oh, I have a kid that's going to get a lot of practice in this moment. And I'm going to take their little hands and say, I can't let you hit. You can tell my eyes, I am so mad. Okay. Now with teenagers, that's too babyish, or even kids that are like 12 and maybe the end of 11. So you're going to cool it up. You're going to be like, I got it. I get it. You can be mad, can't be mean. Try again. Tell me in your talking voice. And if they don't, you say, it's all right. It takes a while to practice this. I didn't have it when I was little. Out of the room.
Mm.
And it does not work like this. If this isn't a sponge, but if I tipped over my LaCroix and I went on a webinar and they said, sponges will help. Well, instantly it works. These things are not instant.
Mm.
Some kids will pick it up really, really quick, but most kids need practice. One of the questions was, what do you do when you've already done all this and it's not working? I say, pray. I say, phone a friend. I say, watch a funny video. I say, tell yourself the truth. Look back at another time where your kid really worried you and had a behavior and it's gone. This too shall pass. Tell yourself it is true that kids, your kids, my kids, take a long time to regulate their feelings. I want you to use the tool 5-5-5-5. I believe I got it from one of my favorite people, Oprah. She's not my personal friend. I'd love to be, but I just think she's fantastic. And so Oprah, if you ever see this, I'd like to be your friend. She said something like, when you have a problem, look out 5 minutes, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years. And it helps you quickly reduce the size of your worry. Right now, the size of our worry and upset feelings are very big because of COVID and other things. So I also highly recommend turning into a good enough parent. That means I am not doing things I hate to do that I don't need to do. Like, I'm not a cooker. We're using paper plates. We're doing showers. We're not doing baths. I am offloading the extra. But you're going to have feelings about this because it doesn't feel good to all of a sudden not be the cooker but you're going to be proud and you're going to say to yourself, I know how to take care of myself and I have to pace myself in raising my kid. They're going to be okay. Yeah. They're going to be okay.
So it sounds to me like there's sort of a cycle, at least especially in those aggressive moments where, like, one is you set it up when there are more calm times where you introduce that language, you give them that sort of framework, and then in the moment you use those things. And then if it still doesn't work, you take a break and you come back and then you try and use them again. And so you kind of like go through that cycle sort of over and over again is what it sounds like. And it takes quite a bit of practice. So yeah, I think you kind of anticipated this next question around like this feeling of dealing with repeated negative behaviors, even though you feel like you've tried everything. And what it sounds like is a large part of it is like a parent learning how to deal with that themselves.
I will give two howevers. Just like when your kid goes to school, some kids need more help with reading and we don't get alarmed. We get them a reading teacher. We get them a math teacher. If you are worried that it is repetitive and you've tried everything, I want you to feel good about getting help. Okay, some kids need a little bit more help, and help is helpful over time. So that definitely turn to help. The other thing is keep it real. Parents are not very good at this. We only talk about how great things are. Check out the Christmas card. I'm kind of not a fan of those. All white shirts, jeans, bare feet. I wanted that movie, but it's only one snapshot. So be the kind of parent with your true friends to talk about the things that concern you, because that's how people will start to talk to you like, I'm worried too, or, oh, I tried this, or here's a book. And nobody's fixing you. They're just supporting you and maybe leading to you when I was a parent of little kids, if I got one new thing a week that kind of got me back in my jump seat, and like, oh, that's going to work with this kid. And here's the thing, you got multiple kids. What works with one kid sometimes doesn't work with the other. So you're calming your engine, you're using your keys, you're honoring that you have feelings, you're letting your kid have feelings. And when they have repetitive, saying mean things about themselves, you're saying the truth. You must have a big feeling that you would say, I'm so stupid. You are not stupid. That's called disappointment. That's called frustration. You're teaching them sentences that are true so you can wire their brain.
Mm-hmm. That's really helpful, that reframe. So kind of related, and you've kind of hit on this as well, but another few questions were around helping children who cry or sulk or throw tantrums when you say no or when you tell them they're doing something wrong. So obviously, you know, parents need to do both those things. They need to say no, they have to correct behavior, but how can they, I know you gave a great suggestion around saying, I can't let you do that, as opposed to saying, no, you can't do that.
Say yes. I can't say yes to that. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay,
So,
I'm jumping.
yeah. So how they do it effectively, and then how they respond to the tantrums when they do happen.
Okay. It's always the same pattern.
Mm.
Expect most kids to do those behaviors when you say no. Expect it. That is the first thing, because if you don't expect it, you're going to respond to it differently. I want you to be like, yeah, I've got a normal kid. They would much prefer me to be able to be lame and not set any boundaries. That is not going to be good for your kid. Kids aren't supposed to be on tables. They aren't. I sometimes let my kids go on tables because that's all I could do that day. So cut yourself slack. But there's behaviors that you know they're going to need. So you're going to first say, yeah, of course they're sulky. They have big feelings. Then you're going to say ahead of time on all these behaviors. You're going to say, look, we have all these behaviors, and crying actually can help. Actually, honestly, crying is helpful to kids because they're getting it out, especially little kids. They can't access words, and it's just hard on you. So I would say to the crying, yeah, that makes sense, you're crying. It's really hard. It is hard on us when parents can't let us have TV all day long. So you're honoring the behavior. Yep, if they're not hurting anyone and they're throwing their body on the ground, you're saying, yeah, your body is really telling me you wish I could say yes. I can't. It's my job. If they're hurting themselves or someone else, that's very different. And I can tell you, I've lived in that movie. One of my three, she will go unnamed. I one night had to call my husband to come home. She was so out of control, I thought she would hurt herself. She had a very, very hard time with emotions. And so it was very scary. Some of you have kids like that. I will report, she's not doing those things anymore. It was very hard. It's called a rough patch. Go get help from someone that makes you feel good about yourself and makes you know that we have to tweak things. We have to find our way with each human because they don't even know who they are. They're learning. Mm. I hope that was explicit enough, Pooja.
Yeah, for sure. So just this idea of, especially if they're not hurting someone else or hurting themselves, saying, yeah, like you do feel that way. I get it. Then that's okay. And kind of honoring that feeling.
Yep. And to also give them a sentence. You can tell my little kids, this works well. Tell my eyes, give them a sentence. I'm so mad I can't have cookies. Because if they can get it out in an angry way, it calms it down and say, yeah, that makes sense. 6 cookies isn't healthy. Everything that we're doing is related to a value. So you're staying the course because you are saying no because you value health, or you value safety, or you value kindness, or you value patience. But it takes way longer than teaching them to brush their teeth. And we're tired. You know, most parents right now, unless you're super lucky and you have a staff behind you, I didn't have a staff behind me. I was the staff. So, and there's no real coffee break. That's why I like working. But now a lot of us can't even leave our house to work. So you don't get, we feel bad.
Get that break.
A break from you. Taking breaks does not mean I don't love you. It means you're a lot of work for me, but you're worth it.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's awesome. I feel like that's a thought that goes through so many parents' heads. So I think like related to this was what should parents do if their child doesn't seem open to these tools or like disengages. And I know a couple parents like specifically mentioned, you know, they cover their ears, they cover their eyes when you try to talk about emotions and feelings. So how do you get them to sort of re-engage, if at all?
I'm so sorry for the parents that have kids doing this, but I am kind of smiling, which doesn't sound very nice of me. Good for them. Nice try. Okay. So you're going to have to figure out your style depending on your kid. Again, same pattern. I would say ahead to my kids, you know, I'm in our house, we follow directions, we cooperate, we have patience, whatever your rules are. And when we forget, we take redos, sets the stage. Then you you correct your kid. One of the questions was, you know, you correct your kid because they aren't allowed to be on top of the TV set. And then they go like this. And you can say, depending on your kid, I'll give you a couple of responses. Nice try. I know you don't like to hear it, but I know you heard it. Off the TV, walk out of the room, pull them down, change the vibe. That's one way. Another way is to say, you're covering your ears. It's so hard when we're learning new things. Let's get off the TV set, okay? I don't know your kid. There are some kids that will not work with, okay? But I want you to try that, parents that wrote that in. You're saying it ahead, and then you're naming it. The reason they're doing this is it's a lot of feelings to have you correct them. So they're saying, I want this to go away. I want to do anything I want in life. And you're saying, I actually want you to have a great life. So I'm not going to let you do anything you want because you're not going to succeed in life. But here's the good thing. Whatever I didn't teach my kids or couldn't teach my kids or they didn't get, the world is teaching them right now. So if you get out alive, which sounds kind of, you want to have a legacy. What's the main point? And then the world's going to put some finishing touches on them.
Absolutely. So I guess like there were a couple more questions that were more specific to, one was like more someone who was talking about their autistic son, and so how we might adapt some of these tools specifically for maybe children with special needs. And then the other side was like some parents that were wondering about how they apply these to like their teenagers and thinking about how they teach them to manage emotions. So kind of on both sides, maybe thinking about adapting some of these tools.
Yep, you got it. So with children with autism or on the spectrum, mild to moderate, Kimochis, this is Kimochi language, is so, so helpful. You're using the visuals and it takes more repetition. You're being explicit. To get key number one, you're saying things like, tell my eyes, look at your brother's face. His face is saying, you're being very explicit so they can start to tune in a little bit more. With teenagers, once kids go from 12 on, you need to actually, this is a whole course, which I'd love to, if you get enough parents of teenagers, I'd do it in a minute. You really have to change the way you talk. If you want your kids to talk to you about feelings, you got to stop talking so much. The minute they come out of the room, don't go blah, blah, blah. You see your kid and then you think, did you feed the dog? Not great. Write notes, write down anything on paper that is a direction. So it takes you out of it. Ask less questions. Those are top tools. Side by side with them instead of face by face. They really, around 12, don't like that eye contact from you. I'm not saying don't give it to them, but I'm saying, especially with the boys, when you're on a bike, when you're digging, when you're shooting hoops, that's the time that you're going to get the fluency. And share some of your own baggage. Baggage is just your feelings. Like, oh my God, did I ever tell you a story about blah, blah, blah? What you're wanting to do with teenagers is talk in a way so your kids are going to want to talk to you if they have a big problem. Last thing, it's great to have a back and forth journal. Get a journal, put a darling baby picture of them, write them a love note, and then write little things, put them in their room, and they can write you back. And just like, oh, I love the way you decorated your room, or thanks for the help. But after you get it going, if you have a concern, that's a place you can talk to your teen and be like, kind of worried, you're in your room a lot. Is everything okay, pal? Because talking can be so, so, so hard. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess like, so that was all so helpful. I think that especially that point about making eye contact and not liking that, that's so the opposite of like when they're young, right? Where you're trying to get the attention, you're trying to make the eye contact and like go from there. So helpful. I guess that was all the questions that parents submitted in advance. We have around, actually this is perfect. We wanted to have 10 minutes left. So I guess if there are any other questions, we'd be happy to take them in the chat. I'm just searching through the previous ones. I don't see any questions in there. Are there any?
I don't know. Oh, excuse me.
Go ahead, sorry.
I don't know if this is how you do it. How I do it is that I say, if anyone wants to put their video on and unmute, it's easier for me to see who I'm talking to, but I know everyone's not comfortable with that. I would love to give them both choices.
Of course, yeah, we could definitely do
that.
that.
Have to be kind of succinct because we only have a little bit of time, but we're hoping to do this again. And if this helped you, you'll send in more explicit questions. And I really hope you'll check out Kimochis and the parenting partner. We've got a ton of free stuff, and we definitely have some things you can buy that are all on this. But again, Pooja's the same way. We at Kimochis and the parenting partner, I know with Debbie, it's like, we just want to help every parent. So it's the language I gave you and the pattern that will help you.
Yeah, maybe like, I think some of those lines that you gave were so helpful. If we could just like, I think maybe while waiting for questions to come up or anything like that, if we could just like recap some of those key like literal lines that you gave that might be helpful for parents, I think that would be really exciting.
All feelings are okay. All behaviors are not.
Mm.
You can be mad. You can't be mean. We're a second chance family. Everyone makes mistakes with feelings. We take redos. I have more lines, but those are the ones I would take home. Those, if I was a parent, I'd be writing those on my hand. We get incredible feedback. It's really learning these sentences, these ways to regulate feelings so that we're not saying, oh, you don't have to feel that way. We all just do what we've learned and know so much more now. So pick up a couple sentences, and sometimes I would say stuff that didn't even make sense, but I was just practicing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I guess like one of the questions that I've seen in other places has been around sibling conflict in particular. So maybe we could use the last 10 minutes to talk about that a little.
This is the thing. It didn't feel good. I have 3 girls. Oh my God, the ponytail's not going in the right direction. Fighting, rivalry. There's still some rivalry. Okay. It is normal. So again, I just created these recipes, these 7 recipes. I don't know if you're going to talk. Little video. What do? 2 kids fight. You go to the bowl. You go to the Kimochis. You stop the talking. You have the kids go in and pull out the feelings they think their sister or their brother's having. Yeah, there's door slamming. We're going to our feeling bowl. This is your calm down tool. Oh yeah, that makes sense. You're angry if you think your sister's angry, frustrated. Give her a head nod. Are you mad? Yes, she's mad. All right, redo. In our family, we can be mad, we can't be mean. So then they both feel heard. Okay. Or, oh, pull out the feelings you're having when you slammed the door and told your sister you want to sell her. We had milk in our house, sister for sale. I kept it. I was so hurt at the time, but I could just pluck that out because it's funny now. And, but I know it's not funny right now when you see those things. So you are not doing the old thing we do, like talk. You're saying, we're all going to have feelings. We're going to do the wrong things when we get mad at each other. No, we're a big family. We're doing all the feelings with kindness. We're looking at each other. We're using talking voices, talking faces, helpful words, and we're redoing. That's what we're doing. We're using our keys. Whoops, let's go to the bowl. We're using this at dinner time. Pull out feelings that we're having in this house that's making it hard for us to get along. Okay, frustration, disappointment. Let's tell some stories. I'm frustrated too. I'm glad you brought that up. Anybody got an idea of how to make that a little smaller around here?
Mm.
You
And
can, I love this stuff.
yeah, absolutely. And are there like ways that you kind of are, so for example, especially with sibling rivalry, there are times when you as a parent want to intervene versus when you don't. How do you kind of like make that call, especially with very young children, you know, where they might not be saying particularly hurtful things or something, but it's just yeah.
Yeah. Such a big question. Depends on the age, depends on, but I'm going to give you some basic mechanics. You're expecting them to have problems. You're saying to yourself, oh, this gives me an opportunity to show them why they're hitting and grabbing and pulling so they understand relationship. You're saying, yes, you know, you guys are going to play if they're little. You're going to play in the house or in the backyard with the puppy. But if you get mad, we're not hitting, we're not yelling, we're not pushing. You're setting it up.
You said
Then
it
they
before.
don't do any of those things. They push, they yell, they run to you. You say, oh, I see big feelings. That's with little kids. Try to let some of the fighting go a little bit to see how it resolves. This is really a whole webinar, Pooja, because very important mechanics of it. Sometimes you have a more dominant verbal kid, okay? Or girls tend to be a little bit better with their words than boys, so boys always get in trouble. So there's all these mechanics, but the basic mechanic is you're going and saying, oh my gosh, I took a class today. I don't know if I told you guys, I didn't even realize how important feelings are. It's why we're yelling and doing all this stuff. So all feelings are okay, all behaviors are not. And then you could rewatch this video. You can go on the Parenting Partner or Kimochis. We've got lots of videos on this. I have a YouTube channel. I make little videos for parents, just 3 minutes, because you want to bring the language in and give the whole house practice.
I think that's honestly a great place to end, because it sounds, unless we have 5 more minutes, I suppose it's like type now or speak now. If there's any more questions, I'll give it 30 seconds.
One person is asking if there'll be a replay.
So there definitely, by replay, I assume that means, will this recording be shared? It definitely will be. So yeah, so for one thing, I will, first of all, thank you all so much for coming, those of you who are here, and even for those, I know that some had to leave a little early, but we're so appreciative that you're here and that you asked your questions, especially those of you who submitted questions in advance. We will definitely be sharing the webinar, as well as kind of like a blog post with the highlights and some of those key lines that Ellen shared after this, and we'll send this to everyone here. And the wider audience, honestly, feel free to share it with anyone. Otherwise, I guess all that remains to be said is thank you so much, Ellen, for your time and your incredible tips. And again, thank you to all of you parents who came and spent some of your evening with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope that helped you, and be kind to yourself. We all need to go easy on ourselves right now. Life is really, really hard. Thank you for joining.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. My glasses glare. My 92-year-old dad said, don't wear your glasses.
Oh, no.
That's why I take them off. Okay.
Bye, everyone.